In this episode of 3-Minute Theory, we use the concept of immaterial labor to theorize an event that occurred outside one of our very own windows. Imagine, in the bright light of day, you're looking out the window and you watch as a car pulls into your neighbor's driveway and suddenly hits the car already parked there. A woman jumps out frazzled, her arms are full of shopping bags, and she's frantically seeking the correct address to make the grocery delivery. Obviously, this woman is being paid to deliver groceries. But let's also consider the work she's doing beyond shopping and delivery. What we would call the immaterial or largely unseen or less obvious labor. She's navigating smartphone apps, driving down city streets, organizing her own shifts and her own working hours. And all the while, she's also assuming numerous risks. Risks like getting sick, getting into that fender bender, maybe losing her car insurance, and perhaps her ability to work. All of these seemingly extra but still necessary parts of her job qualify as immaterial labor, the work that produces the informational and cultural content of a commodity. The freedoms that might have initially attracted our grocery worker put her in a precarious position, because now she's both manager and worker, self-employed yet constantly deployed. She has the freedom and responsibility to choose which jobs are the safest to take and which platforms she'll use to find work. But in control societies, the risks of private enterprise are socialized while the profits remain privatized. So in other words, life and labor become one under this guise of flexibility. Though she creates value for the grocery chain and services the household, they're not her actual employers. Neither provides salary, benefits, job security, or even the tools she needs to do her work. All the while, these grocery orders and the fulfilling of them produces large quantities of data that in turn creates incredible value for the grocery industry. Everyone involved interactively and freely produces this data that continues to get collected, repackaged, and then sold back to consumers. Now consider the immaterial labor of a traditional profession, one like teaching. During normal time, teachers provide immense amounts of immaterial labor that's largely unseen and unpaid for. In light of COVID, this is exacerbated as teachers also become responsible for things like supplying their own power and internet connections, learning to use new software, and investing hours of emotional effort into already demanding work. These new requirements don't come without cost, but it's really difficult to assign value to them as these actions are not understood or seen as traditional forms of labor or investment. COVID has proved an illuminating and destructive force, revealing what's always been but now can't be ignored. It ultimately calls into question the reigning notions of what labor should cost. There is so much immaterial labor in control societies that it makes accurately calculating the cost of labor impossible. Because in this case, cost isn't just monetary. In sum, using the concept of immaterial labor can illustrate just how blurry the lines between valuable and vulnerable, essential and expendable, home and work really are. What will we as a global community take away from this collective learning moment?